I was feeling really optimistic, and I had it in my head that this weekend I was going to show you my cottage garden, and it was going to be this immaculate, amazing paradise. It's not. I've done a lot and I've made a lot of progress, and you will definitely be able to see that I've made progress. But it's fair to say that I have been feeling a little bit overwhelmed with how much I've got to do. And because growing cut flowers for sale is a side hustle for me, and I want it to be a successful business, I have been prioritising my cut flower patch, because the only people who are going to know if my cottage garden is a mess is myself, my family and friends, and you guys. The greater world doesn't need to know that my cottage garden is a mess. They never know what's behind closed doors. So I've spent the weekend in the cut flower patch yet again, catching up on various things that need doing out there, and there's still things to be doing, but I'm really pleased with how it's looking, and really pleased to be cutting some flowers from there. The Canterbury bells are now flowering. The Sweet William, because I had different successions in different places, they've kept going and going. Whereas some are pretty much flowered out now, I've got others that are just coming in, so that's perfect. And some of the things I've been growing for the first time in there have really surprised me, and I'm really chuffed with them, and I'm definitely adding them to my list. The crown daisies, I have got some in here. These were wonky stems that I couldn't really sell, but they've got fantastic vase life. I mean, they're part of the chrysanthemum family, and they don't all come in this colour. They're a mix of colours, but they're all yellow, yellowish. But really love it. Really long stems. Can't believe I didn't think to grow it before. So that's what I love. And then the Gilia, haven't got any in here. I told you the dog sat in it, which is a bit of a shame, but I've sown another crop because I loved it. It's just, that's for detail. This is great for your retail bouquets, whereas the Gilia, you can see that as more of a bridal or event flower. So not only am I cutting things for fresh bouquets, I've even started cutting things for drying. Can you believe? So my honesty crop I've cut, and I couldn't believe how many seed pods I got off of such a small area. I definitely don't need to grow any more than that for what I do. If I was selling dried flowers wholesale or something, fair enough. But for me, for Christmas wreaths and things like that, it should be ample. So I was chuffed with that. I've also cut some Greek cress, and I've been cutting lots of turning around here. My Breezer, is this the Media or the Maxima? Which one's annual, one's perennial. This is the perennial one. And I've even been cutting that for drying. Even the stems of my Astrantia have started to put some length on them. So all in all, I'm pretty happy in the cut flower patch. My battle with the slugs is ongoing, but I've got to be honest, I've got a bit of a little friend helper out there. She's making hell of a mess, scratching around. In fact, she's even uprooted some of the plants. But there is a blackbird out there who must be working overtime, because every evening I'm having to go out with my gloves and get all the earth and mulch that she's scratched off the beds into the ditches and take it up out of the ditches and back into the beds. The only place she's not going is in the polytunnel. So isn't that weird? The driest place, or maybe I'm overwatering, I don't know, the driest place, the polytunnel, is the place that's worse for me for slugs. But this blackbird, I've watched her, she's a hero. This is why growing organically, or no, I'm not organically certified, but growing in a way that benefits the ecosystem is so good, because you've got other people helping you out. There's a hornet I've been eagerly watching every day. The only concern I have is I hope she's not nesting near the house, because my dogs are terrible with trying to eat anything that flies. They're whippets. But I watch her, she flies checking out all the cobwebs. She's inspecting the plants. I watched her go right in down underneath all the dianthus. You know, she is looking for things to eat and things that are probably not doing any good for my plants. So good. So thumbs up to the ecosystem at the moment. It seems to be working well. One other negative, and the sweet peas are only just starting in places, but thrips. I cut a big Alba foxglove the other day and brought it into the studio, and I quickly realised it was absolutely crawling in them. They like white, don't they? I remember last year it was my white sweet peas which had a bit of an infestation. Not growing any white sweet peas this year, although the fire and ice, which I'll show you in a minute, is much nicer than I thought it was going to be. In fact, I really like it. Anyway, it's quite pale, so it'll be interesting to see if the thrips infest those or not. So one of the things I'd been doing was carrying on with my staking, and I bit the bullet. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I went out and bought another roll of stock fence. I sort of knew 50 metres wasn't going to be enough when I bought it, but it's £1 a metre, so it's £50 for 50 metres, and I've pretty much finished that. So I've used 100 metres already, and I've not done it all. But lots of the areas I wouldn't be able to do now because the plants are too big. You need to, if you're going to use the stock fence, you need to get it onto the plants while they're still, you know, before they grow up through. So I've been using the stock fence, and I've also been continuing using my electrical fence wire to do higher where the plants are taller, and also I've staked my dahlias this weekend. So I've put in some extra posts, and I'm sort of cordoning the dahlias, which is how I grew them last year, and that seemed fairly effective for me. The only thing I wasn't so good at last year was I forgot to go higher again, which I always do with the cosmos. And of course, as the plants grow, you want your netting or whatever you're using to support them to grow as well. My cut flower patch is windy. You know that, you've seen it. There's not really any windbreak other than the windbreak netting. I've been working in the cottage garden. I've really noticed that the beds that haven't been mulched, because I'm still working on them, and there's no point in covering a bed you're still working on in mulch, how quickly the soil gets dry. So I've made sure this weekend in the cut flower patch that areas where I haven't mulched so well, I've done a bit of weeding and applied a bit more mulch on there. And I've done the same as what I did last year with the dahlias, and I've gone ahead and added some sheep wool. One bed has got lovely sheep fleece, and the other bed is dagging, which is basically just where they shorn around the sheep's bottom, and sometimes you get a bit of extra goodness in the daggings. So hopefully that will encourage the dahlias to grow on. And speaking of encouraging the dahlias to grow on, I also have been feeding, and I'm trying a different feed this year. So, what is it? Last year I used the organic Maxicrop, and I put that into my sprayer. But actually this year I decided, because I went through so many bottles of this. This is 2.5 litres. And I seem to have Amazon deliveries like every other week sending me this fertiliser. So I've got this different one I'll show you. This one's really testing my muscles. So I bought this one. I don't know if it will be as good. I can't even read on the bottle how many litres it is, but it's big anyway, it's heavy. I was chatting to a grower earlier in the year who has the most spectacular cut flowers, just so healthy, straight stems. She works incredibly hard. That's not an accident. They are like that because she puts her all into what she's doing, but she doesn't feed. So sometimes I wonder why I do, but I feed because I'm not so good at growing and I neglect things. So to make up for my neglect, I have to feed them so that they quickly recover after they've been not potted on and planted out late and things like that. said I was going to buy some jute like netting for in the polytunnel, but I didn't. I've gone ahead and put the stop fence in there as well. I think it will stop my little dogs from walking all over there. So that's another job I've done over the weekend. And I really need to do a day in the life of a, I'm not going to call myself a flower farmer, a side hustle cut flower grower, because it's not all cutting flowers, arranging flowers and growing flowers. There's all the rubbishy admin as well. So I've also been ordering my biennial seed, ordering some more peat-free compost, for which they've put the delivery up to £12. But I suppose they are quite big, bulky items. So anyway, I've ordered that. So seeds, compost, and I haven't even finished yet. I need to do my socials. So I've been doing pictures and filming and things for Instagram and YouTube as well. But the most boring job, which I need to be so much better at, is my paperwork. So I've done some invoices today. One lady who has flowers regularly, I think she needed invoices for the last 3 bunches of flowers she's bought. But anyway, I finally have done it. So those are the boring things that you don't often get to see on these videos. But all these are all excuses, telling you everything I've been doing in the cut flower garden, telling you all the admin I've been doing, just to manage your expectations on my cottage garden. But actually, do you know what? To the untrained eye, so people who would come to my garden who are not gardeners, they think it was amazing. To you guys and me, they're highly critical gardeners. You'll notice the problems right away, I'm sure. So my water lily is just flowering, and he's got a little friend as well. I'm down to 3 fish though. We've had a fish fatality. So we've got 1 comet, 1 bumpkin. In fact, that's not even the comet, that's the goldfish. I don't even know where the comet is, but anyway, down to 3 fish. And then I've got some of my phlox over here, again with these little violas, and these dahlias, you're going to ask me what they're called. I'll write the name on the screen if I remember, but they're sort of a lilac-y, purpley white, I believe. I think they're about 70 centimetres, and I've got 2 of those along with the violas and the phlox. And then this is a lilac in the middle here. Okay, I just planted this lavender, so it really needs watering. This is a pink one, I believe. And you can see my battle with the bindweed is ongoing. Here's some, here's some. I mean, I'm never going to win the battle, but I just need to keep battling. I mustn't give up. So the wall had so much digging in it because this is where the ground elder was as well, and loads of couch grass. So I've been working away on this constantly, and I think I'm going to be doing that anytime I get a chance in the evening. Just look at Iceberg, looking really beautiful, and it's got a lovely scent as well, so it's lovely on this archway. These are my giant asters, who, look at them, they've just been potted. I have actually potted something on, make note, they were going to die if I hadn't of. So these are for the cutting garden, but they're just here because it's quite sheltered and a good place for them to harden off. This clematis has got a bit top heavy here. I really should have, I don't know, tied it in a bit, but I love the colour. This rose was one of the few things that was here when we moved in, and again it's got a lovely fragrance, just really pretty rose. The fuchsia was also here, and it's just an absolute monster. So this bed wasn't here, it used to just be lawn straight up to the planter there, but I just didn't like the sort of straight edge. I wanted something more cottagey, so I wanted to add some more subtle curves in. So the euphorbia came from the cut flower patch, as did the lamb's ear, but I did sow the lamb's ear from seed, and it's really easy and I really recommend it. I'm going to put in some footage that I took a couple of weeks ago of my iris, because you can see they're over, and my alliums as well, so I'll pop the footage in of that now. I was really pleased with them. I'm so pleased I put them in the bulb basket, because if I hadn't put them in the bulb basket, then I wouldn't have had them at all. And hopefully now I've actually planted the baskets, hopefully next year they'll come back and be really happy. And you know what, I'm thinking about getting some more. This cornflower here is because I shredded loads of my dried flowers I didn't use. So obviously there are occasional bits of seed. Shame I didn't get a few more, because I didn't actually grow any cornflowers this year. But I wouldn't say I was missing them as of yet. They're a bit of a faff to cut. A stilby, that's a young one. I've got some more larkspur in there. Alchemilla mollis here. Some poor sweet peas back here on this wigwam. Planted out really, really late, but hopefully they'll catch up with the ones I planted out a bit earlier. I don't know why my geranium phaeum always gets all sort of mildewy. My other geraniums don't. The bees love it because it flowers quite early, but I don't like it now when it goes all sort of white on the leaves. Look at all these nasturtiums. They're all self-seeders, and you know what, I've left them, but look, you're not a nasturtium. More bindweed. You would not believe how much bindweed I've taken out of this garden. I haven't finished. So here's some more of the phaeum. Just see, yeah, just really powdery mildew. And then in here, this is going to be, oh look at that bindweed back there. But you see, you can't really get in there now. But this is going to be Rudbeckia City soon. And I keep finding loads of Rudbeckia seedlings as well. But I've got two types in here, Goldilocks and Sun something or other, but I can't remember. Oh, I'm so annoyed about this bindweed because this bed wasn't too bad. This bed is the only bed in the garden with no bindweed. So I really, really hope it stays that way. So I've got my spirea here and my fatsa. I planted some more poor little lavatras here, which were left in the pots. So they're it'll do or die, isn't it? They're either gonna like it here and grow on really well, or they're not. So we've got a few of those. This is one of those brachyglottis that I grew from cutting, so I finally put one of those out. And then baby Alchemilla mollis. That's gosh, I hope I didn't take that bit of geranium from somewhere with bindweed. No, I think it was in a pot. More lamb's ear, some white sedum, some more Alchemilla mollis, and some Lamian dead nettle. And this border has always been whites to very pale pinks. I've got a skimmier back there. The rose, I think it's baby boy. Lovely, lovely scent. I've got a white fuchsia here. It is the hedging fuchsia as well. And some more astilbes. These are going to be the white astilbes. I've got vinca back there. That's vinca major. And again, some more geraniums. And these are the Allium Christophi. Got my bit of you know, driftwood type thing there. Just added a bit of art, if you can call it that. More astilbe. This is pink and white here. And my poor hydrangea Annabelle, which I've been trying to grow, for some reason, just there's like one rabbit that gets in here, and it just eats that. So it's got that leaf at the top and no leaves at the bottom. But I need to try and work out where the rabbit's getting in here. Achillea, I don't know what colour that is actually. I know that this Achillea is white because it's in the white bed, but I can't remember what that one is. I don't know what this is, incidentally. It's obviously something that's self-sown. I mean, I don't know how weedy it is, but I've mentioned before, you've got to be a pretty serious weed to be a weed in here. So we'll leave it and see what it does, see if we like it. I've actually gone ahead and planted lots of gladiola in pots, and I've done that to try and help if I've got to pull them up again because of bindweed. The less said about those dying plants back there, the better. And then again, that gladiola's waiting to be planted there. This rose is Compassion. Brachioglottis, more geraniums, some more Alchemilla mollis babies, and again these are those iris. I haven't got round to planting that basket yet. Allium, haven't planted that yet. More lamb's ear, haven't planted that yet. These are my poor. I only planted these about 2 days ago. These June Mai Tai have been not even planted properly in a pot. They've been in a crate. Ash, you're in the way. They've been in a crate all winter. Yes, seriously neglected, but hopefully they'll pick up. I've got Jacob's Ladder here that need planting. These are the little cute alliums. Can't remember the name, but they haven't flowered yet. But they've gone all floppy. I've not been looking after them very well, but hopefully next year, because they're still alive now, next year they should be great. And the dog's manky football, if you can call it a football, and a Stilby, which you can see I more or less have killed. But I'm optimistic, folks. I think it'll be all right. Geraniums, some more of these cute little alliums. My poor Nepeta, but I've got another really good plant I can take cuttings from. So that's the Nepeta, and then my Potentilla. Again, I dug it up in the autumn, and I didn't. When I said I dug these things up, I didn't put them in pots or anything. I just dug them up and left them in clumps, as is evident here. That's an aster. It will make it or it won't. And then I've decided I've got a few more dahlias I only just planted out back here to fill these holes, so it'll be interesting to see if they'll grow or get eaten. These sedum waiting to be planted are a pink. Oh, look at my poor sea holly, really needs planting. Got some sweet peas back there that they're trying, but I haven't helped them. I bought this shrub years and years ago, and now I'm not really sure about it. But actually you could do with a shrub there, so we'll keep it. And then look at this bindweed in amongst this aster. You know, I haven't planted it yet, but can I get that bindweed out of that? We'll have to wait and see. I planted a new, this is the rose which I tried to get rid of once because it was too big, but in the end we gave in and put the arch here instead for it to climb up. But it's not a repeat flowering rose, it only flowers once. So I went ahead and planted a clematis here. I can't remember which one, but you can see this is the clematis, and it's actually made it. I did notice the other day, oh yeah, here, it's actually getting a fair way up. So it'll be interesting to see how that grows on as well. And then another aster here, a rosemary waiting to be planted. That pile of soil needs moving because I've got a big spirea. Well, it's not big, it's small at the moment, but I'm going to put a spirea, the bride, there. In fact, I might put two there just to make this. This is where there used to be a tree, and the tree died and had to be cut down. And we've got sort of like a clump of daffodils there that needs planting. I don't know where all this grass came from, so I got rid of all the sting nettles, turned my back for, I don't know, 3 weeks, and look at this, it's just, yeah, just totally taken over. So that's another job. I've got a rambling rose back here and a buddleia. This poor honeysuckle's never liked it in this pot because, well, it's in a pot and it would much rather be in the ground, but anyway, it stays there. Gladioli, these are not staying here, temporary. My poor Physocarpus got dug up because we can see bindweed, so that needs planting again. It's just in a bucket of the water at the moment because I don't want to kill it. And then, you know, things that didn't get planted out, look, oh, terrible, but look, oh dear, it's all wet, so it's not the best, but this is the fire and ice, so it's like splotchy, but I really like it. So it's really sort of pale pastel-y, pinky purple and white, love it. That's only just started flowering. So hopefully that will really be beautiful. Okay, now this, so I've spent just in this area, you can see here, about 12 hours so far with the bindweed because it's really bad. And I mean, you can see from what's left on this rose, I really didn't want to dig this rose up because I knew I would kill it if I did. And this is Gertrude Jekyll. So what I've done is I dug down. Oh, let's see. Okay, so that's a bit that I've missed. But I dug right down around this rose, and to the point where I exposed the roots, apart from the really deep roots, and I, you know, used a knife and pulled all the roots that were growing through the roots out. But you can see I'm back in this area here now, and you can just see, so here, so these are bindweed roots here. So I basically, I mean, you can see it, I'm gonna have to dig up this geranium. There's no ifs or buts, and I'm gonna have to dig up this little it's a type of Veronica, isn't it, with the pale blue flowers. I'm gonna have to dig that up as well because I just, the roots here in this area were the worst of any part of the garden, hence me spending, you know, and you see here, this is it as well, hence me spending so many hours in here. This is where I will be every evening this week, is in this corner, just digging up. And this little bit of border here I'm going to change because it's a bit of a pain, so I'm just going to come out in a curve. So I'm gonna, if you watch my feet, this bed, this is where the new line will be on this bed, and then to here. So this whole little bit of grass in here will be dug up, but then in the autumn I will add a curve onto this bed as well, because this wood is rotten now anyway, so it's going to have to come down, and I've never been a fan of the straight line. So there's loads of bindweed in here, don't be fooled. See, there's some there, but you know, it looks a lot better than it did. And I've cleared all the back of the whole bed out, because that is where it comes in under the fence, and I'm not going to plant anything there. You know, apart from that little bit of a gap there, it looks fairly full as far as the border goes. So yeah, so I'll leave that. It looks, my monster buddleia. So yeah, so in here I've got a pittosporum, I've got a rosemary there waiting to be planted, some gladioli. I'm not going to plant them, just going to leave them in a crate. There'll still be lots of geraniums. This is the hybrid one, Roseanne, but these ones with a slightly different leaf are not Roseanne, they are a different one, but they're still blue. So these ones, isn't it funny, they're so similar. These ones will, in fact, I don't know if this is that, it probably is coming off of Roseanne. Yeah, so this is the one that will self-seed, and this is the one that won't. More lamb's ear. This buddleia is a white, and yeah, there we are, folks. Oh, and I didn't even show you this. If you know, get upset by neglected plants, look away now. So, I mean, this heather, I doubt that's going to live. It's been dug up, and like I say, it's not in a pot. It just got dug up and dumped in a crate. The phlox weren't my fault, actually. These are perennial phlox, and this is a bunny. Bunny. It's funny how they have things they think are delicious, and they definitely think phlox is delicious. Agastache is looking quite good. That was in the cut flower patch, so that one's planting out. And then these are all the poor bulbs that have been dug up in the course of bindweeding. And this is a clematis that I actually bought it for a wedding I did recently, and I chopped the thing right off and it's shooting, so I've got to find somewhere for that. Well, thank you so much for coming along with me again this week. Let me know in the comments, do you have any hero blackbirds or hero anything that are eating all of your bad guys? I love chatting to you in the comments. It really makes the whole filming these videos to me sort of a worthwhile experience, to be able to communicate with the wider world of people who are passionate about growing cut flowers or just gardening in general, just like I am myself. If you do like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already and you want to follow my gardening journey, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to contribute at all towards the filming of these videos, then you can now buy me a coffee, and the link for coffee buying is in the description to the video. Happy growing and gardening, and I'll see you next time.